Everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys step by step how to tune up your lawnmower, so let's get right into it. Okay, so before I pan the camera over to the lawnmower, I'll show you guys the tools that you're going to need for this job. So you're going to need some carburetor cleaner, some oil, pairs of pliers. I just had this socket thing, or wrench for fun, and a paper towel, and I have a socket set under here, which also has screwdrivers in it. So now, let me show you guys the lawnmower that I got here. So here it is. 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine. These are like the best engines ever made. So bulletproof and so powerful. Yeah, it has an aluminum deck, and it currently is not running, and I bought it that way for fun. So let's see if we can get it going. Okay, so the first step to getting any lawnmower running, or getting it tuned up, I guess, is to check for spark. So to do that, you can take the spark plug out and ground it against a block and have it connected to the cable. Or I'm going to use what's called a spark tester. So basically what you do is you unplug this and you plug it into here. Then you clamp this to the engine somewhere. So I'm going to clamp it to the exhaust because it's not rusted. And it looks like a good grounding spot. And actually we'll go to this bolt here. And now you're going to have to watch right there for the spark. And I'm going to pull the engine over and see if it sparks. So again, look right there. So what's your spark? I don't know. Okay, so I've reclamped it to the muffler because that's better. I think. So I reclamped it to the exhaust because the muffler is a better grounding spot for the tool than the cylinder head. So watch right there. What's your spark? I don't know. Let's just keep going. I think there was. Okay, so step 2, after you've identified that you have spark, and since this motor's been sitting for a few years, the guy said, we're gonna go clean up the carburetor because I don't want to. I'm sure it would run if I poured gas in it, but I want to be extra sure that it's gonna run well. So let's go take off the carburetor and go in the garage and clean it out. Also, to clean the carburetor, it's pretty easy, despite what you may think. It's not that big of a deal. And also, if you break the original one, it's not that big. It's cheap to get a new one. Okay, so it's not that big of a deal if you ruin it. So, but I'll show you guys step by step how to clean it and how to take it off. So let's get going. Okay, so the first step to removing the carburetor is we're going to take off this top cover here to make it easier for filming and just to make it easier to see in general. So there's 2 Phillips screws, and it's a good idea to have a little dish to put your little parts in so don't lose them. There we go. And now we're going to go over here and I'll show you guys what to do next. So next, you're going to have to take off the air filter cover, which is a 5/16 nut driver or a flathead screwdriver, whatever you prefer. Unscrew it, and then there it goes. We're going to set this off to the side over here. Next, there's 2 more 5/16 screws inside of here. So there's one right here, and there's one right there. So there's one screw here and one right there. So we're going to take those out. Put them in a little dish. There we go. And now I think this should come out of here. It should pull off. And I missed a screw. Sorry. There's one right there. There we go. Now this guy should just pull off like that, and we're going to clean this up as well after. So next what you have to do is we're going to disconnect the fuel line to make this a bit easier. So to remove the fuel line, there's going to be a clamp here. So get your pliers and loosen the clamp. And get a flathead screwdriver and pry off the fuel line. And you might need to just twist it as well and pull back to get it off. Okay, so we have to get the gas line off, and to do that we're going to get a flathead screwdriver and just pry against the carburetor here and get it off. This might take me a couple tries, so I might have to do it off camera, but I'll try to do it on camera for you guys. So go in here, just kind of pry this back. All right, there we go. The old gas line is off, and I'm going to have to replace that, but I'll do that at a later date. So now what we're going to have to do is get a 3/8 socket and take out that bolt right there. Sorry you can't see. That one right there, and there's one down under this thing as well. Okay, so we're going to take out this bolt first, so it's a 3/8, and get in here with your ratchet and just loosen it like this until it comes out. And then I'm sorry you can't see it very well, but the next one is right down there where the socket is on there. See, right there. So again, loosen this one until it comes out, and then I'll show you guys how to get the linkage out of the carburetor. Alrighty, so I put our two bolts that hold the carburetor on in our little dish here, and now, so you have the carburetor in your hands, and just twist it like this way, and it should come out. Now we're going to go over to the workbench, and we're going to take it apart and clean it out. Okay, so before we clean the carburetor, I'll show you guys some tools that I like to use to clean out carburetors. So I like to use a pair of pliers. So let me get those out first. Okay, so I like to use a pair of good needle nose pliers, and I like to use as well, it's called a torch tip cleaner, and it has all these little rods on it with little serrations. They were good to clean up the little jets and everything. Some towels is nice, and some carburetor cleaner, and then you need this wrench to take it apart. So let's get right into it. And first, we're going to spray off the carburetor in this little rag here to clean off the outside. So basically, all you're going to want to do is go like this. A bit. Kind of clean it off on the outside. The other side as well. All right, now we're gonna let that dry off for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna take it apart and clean it out. Oh, and I forgot, I also like to have a soft wire brush to clean off any jets. That also works really good. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is take off the bowl nut with a 1/2-inch socket. So go like this and unscrew it. And now just unscrew it with your fingers. And wait, it's jammed. So keep unscrewing it. And there we go. And now we're going to take off the bowl and see what surprises are inside. And it's not that bad, so that's good. Here's the bowl. I've seen worse. Like in the Lawnmower video, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner of your screen. But that carburetor was way dirtier than this. So this shouldn't be that bad to clean out. So there's the bowl. And then here is our kind of main body. And I don't know if you can see in there, but it's good because the float, like the needle and seat, are moving. So that's good. So what we're going to do now is take this out, and we're going to spray the cleaner in there, and we're also going to clean out our little jet here. So let's get into that. So first we're going to take out the little pin here with our pliers. So pull this out, and then set that aside over here. Next we can lift out our float and needle, and looking inside, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we're going to spray the carburetor cleaner in here and clean it out, and we're going to brush it with our wire brush as well. Oh, and also, you're going to want to remove the bowl seal here, and this one's broken, so I have another one that I'll put on after. Take that off, and now what we're going to do is get our carb cleaner and spray it in the bowl. Then we can use our brush and kind of agitate the dirt off of it. And inside as well. Then we can use a rag also to just make it sure it's really good. So wipe it out really good until it's clean. And there we go. I mean, there is a little bit of crud, but that should be okay. And it's not loose or anything, so that's good. Now we're going to move on to our carburetor body and try to avoid spraying the carb cleaner in here, because that's where there's like a rubber plug or like a rubber stopper for the needle, and if the rubber little thing gets carb cleaner on it, the carb cleaner will swell the rubber and make it like mess up. So try to avoid spraying it in there. Anyway, so we're going to spray the carb cleaner in the center, and hopefully it comes out these holes here. And you're going to want to wear your safety glasses. I'm just like not on camera so you can't see. Just spray this in here. And don't be afraid to use a lot. There we go. I'm getting every hole basically. Get over here. Get over here. Get in the front ones here. Clean out this part. Basically, you're spraying out every orifice in the carburetor. Get in here. Then get the body again. And I'll get my little wire brush here, and we're going to wire brush the emulsion tube a bit here to clean it out. Clean all the gunk off of it. And you're going to want to wire brush here where the little bowl O-ring sits. That'll make sure that the new bowl O-ring will seal properly and do a good job. So just wire brush this a bit. Okay, now we're going to clean out our main jet here. So we're going to hold it with Plashy. Yeah, we'll spray the carb cleaner in the hole, in the center hole, and set it down here. Then we're going to get a torch tip cleaner, and I forgot to do it on the carburetor. So we're actually going to run the torch tip cleaner inside these little two holes here and make sure that's really good and cleaned out. And you can watch in the center and see the torch tip cleaner come through there. So do this a bunch until it's cleaned out, and then that should be good. And we'll get a small one for in there as well. So this one looks to be the right size. And try not to bend them, because then it makes them harder to use in the future. So go like this, and then go in the small hole in the center. And it also doesn't go up all the way, but you can kind of hear it go cleaning it. And then we're going to spray it out once more with the carburetor cleaner. And make sure that the carb cleaner comes out of this top hole as well once you're spraying it in here. This will ensure that the emulsion tube is fully cleaned out. And that's good. So now we're going to get a torch tip cleaner and clean out this as well. And make sure that you get the holes really clean, because this is actually where the fuel, like this is the jet. Unlike in some other carburetors where the main jet can be in here, this is the main jet that holds the bowl on. It's kind of interesting design. So make sure you clean the center hole really well, because that's where all the gunk usually goes and makes it nice and dirty. So spray it out once more. And when you spray it, make sure the carb cleaner, when you spray in here, make sure the carburetor cleaner goes through both of the holes here. So there's one on this side and the one on that side. And then make sure that you can that on the actual metal here, and so it's not messed up. Okay, now we're going to put this back together. So you have our float, and you're going to want to shake it to make sure that there's no holes in it. So basically get your needle here and poke and put it in the little groove here, like that. So it kind of locks in place, and it should look something like this. Next, put it back in the carburetor, just like this, and then get the little pin here and push it in. Make sure you line everything up properly. And now what I like to do is tip it over like this. Then I like to blow in here and then push the float up with my finger, or tip it upside down, and then to make sure that it shuts off. So I'll demonstrate that now. Okay, so what you're gonna want to do is you can also get a piece of fuel line, but I clean it off with the wire brush, so it's good enough. So blow in here and then push the float up with your finger, and make sure that the hissing stops when you push it up. And now I'm gonna tip it upside down to make sure that it shuts off itself. That's pretty good, and I'm happy with that. So now we're gonna put it back together. Okay, now we're gonna reassemble our bowl, or our carburetor. So put the bowl back on like this, and make sure that you center everything so it looks like that, nice and good. And next, hit your little main jet, screw it back in, like this. And next, get your wrench, and then just tighten this up. Get it snug. There we go. And I'll check the float once again to make sure that it's all good. And as I thought, everything checks out. So we're going to install, I have a couple new gaskets here, so I'll put those on, just to make sure that it runs good. So take off the old one. Actually, this one's okay. We'll leave it on there. And this, I believe, goes in the intake manifold, so I'll check that out. Okay, so I checked it out and it looked fine. So now we're just not going to bother with these. And now we're going to go reinstall our carburetor, and we're going to clean off the little air filter base. Okay, so to clean off our little air filter base here, I'm just going to get my carb cleaner and spray it off. It's pretty simple. Go like this and wash it off. So do that until it's pretty clean, and you can also wipe it off with a rag as well. Alrighty, so now we're going to reinstall the carburetor. So again, get the linkage and put it in here, the hole, go like that, and then twist. And then push this onto here. Excuse me. Then we're going to get our bolts, and I'm going to get the wrench and tighten them on there. Okay, so I've got one bolt in the wrench here, and basically push this up here, and get the bolt in there. Then tighten it like that. Next, we'll get the other one on there. This one's a bit more tricky, but it's not bad. Let's go in there. And then you're going to want to tighten them up evenly and snug. So there we go. And make sure this moves as it should. That's fast. That's slow. And we're also going to take off, don't have to, but I'm also going to take the recoil off of here because it's kind of slow to retract and it's annoying. So anyway, but first we'll put the air filter cover and all that back on. So next, get your little air filter base here and get that out of the way. And then you're going to want to line this hose up with this little tube right here. So under there, actually no, we gotta do the fuel line. So put the fuel line back on here. This one's pretty stiff, so it needs replaced. But I think it'll be okay for now. Okay, so I've got our fuel line back on, and now we can put this on. So again, make sure that you line this up with the little tube that sticks out of there. So you might have to get your finger down in there, and there we go. And now push this on, and it should line up to the carburetor. Might take a couple tries. Okay guys, sorry that took 2 hands. So get the bolts on. Now we're going to tighten them up here with the ratchet. So there we go. And there we go. And don't forget about this one at the front here. There we go. Now we can put the air filter back on, and I make sure that looks clean. So this one looks pretty good to me. If it's dirty, you can just tap it out like this, or like that. So to get this back on, make sure you align these 3 tabs with the 3 holes in the bottom, just like this. That's a bit weird. It's a little tricky because like this cover's in the way. Okay, so now we're gonna lubricate the pull start before we put it back together. So I realized you don't actually have to remove this, because we're just gonna get our lubricant here and spray it right there where the pulley is. Let's go in here like this. I'm gonna load that. Get it like really good. Get up here a bit. And you can even push this down with the screwdriver and then get in there even more. So go like this, shove the straw in there and push this back up. Then you can lubricate it really good. All right, now we're gonna put the top cover back on, which is right there. And then we're gonna put some gas and oil in it and start it up. Okay, so yet again, these are 2 Phillips screws. There's one right there, and here's one. So now we're just gonna tighten them both up. And then we're gonna refill the oil or put some oil in it because it's like kind of low, I think. There we go. Oh, and I forgot to mention, one thing that kind of annoys me is that when you pull the handlebar and this moves, like, it's really tight. That's annoying to me. So I'm gonna get some lubricant and spray it down in there where everything moves. Then we're going to do this a few times to make sure, help it out. Then we're going to lubricate the cable as well from up here. Then we'll come back down here and we'll get some more. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to check the oil, and I think it's pretty low. So let's look, and yep, it's low. So as you can see there, maybe it's not on the full mark quite yet. So we're gonna wipe this off and add some oil until it is. And I only have 5W30 right now, so I gotta get some more 10W30. Anyway, pour this in here until it's pretty much at the full mark, and that's probably good right there. All right, you guys, so now it's time we're gonna put gas in it and see if it'll start. So, of course, I only run non-ethanol gas because I don't want my carburetors to gum up. So anyway, let's fill it up here and see how it'll start. Oh, I also put stabilizer in my gas as well to keep it like really good and fresh. And we're gonna watch for leaks down there. So, yeah. That's enough for now. Watch for leaks. And that leaks. So I need to rag real quick. Okay, you guys, so we have to be kind of quick because it leaks gas, because I got to replace the fuel line. So anyway, let's see if it'll start. So I'm low. That many primes. That looks good. Let's see. Almost. Let's give her some more primes. Sweet. Alrighty, so that's going to be a wrap on how to tune up your lawnmower, at least properly. Wait. Alright, that's going to be a wrap on how to tune up your lawnmower properly, in my opinion. If you have any tips or tricks on how you do it, leave it in the comments below, because I'd love to, learn some more. As goes for the leaky gas line, I'm going to change that off camera, because I don't want to make a video with that. Anyway, also, if you're wondering why I didn't sharpen the blade, it's because it's already sharp. So, yeah. Oh, and if you're wondering why it was smoking, I'm just going to assume there's a bit of oil in the cylinder that has to burn off. Anyway, so that's going to put a wrap in the video. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome weekend. And drop a comment below what kind of car you like, what kind of cars you like. I like Fords, personally. And what kind of music you like, because that matters as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have an awesome weekend.